Thank you for a chance. My name is Devaldo Maria Gerung, and now I'll explain to you about quality management. What is quality management? Quality management is the act of overseeing all activities and tasks that must be accomplished to maintain a desired level of excellence. This includes the determination of quality policy, creating and implementing quality planning and assurance, and quality control and quality improvement. It is also referred to as a total quality management or TQM. Quality is both a perspective and an approach to increasing customer satisfaction, reducing cycle time and costs, and eliminating errors and reward using a set of defined tools such as root cause analysis, Pareto analysis, and etc. The International Organization for Standardization, or ISO, defines quality as the degree to which a set of inherent characteristics fulfills a requirement, and a requirement as a need of or expectation that is stated, generally implied or obligatory. Examples of requirements include the first one is customer specifications such as reliability, availability, accuracy, and delivery dates. The second one is value for goods and services purchased such as ROI and productivity gains. And the third one is statutory requirements such as the Food Safety Modernization Act, FDA Code of Federal Regulations, Canadian Standards Association, Underwriters Laboratories, EU directives, and the Occupational Health and Safety Act, and the last one is various industry requirements. The people that are responsible for quality. W. Edwards Deming, one of the founders of the quality movement in the United States, said that quality is everyone's responsibility. Most people have interpreted this as a meaning that quality is something that should be ubiquitous in an organization. In other words, quality should be sewn into the very fabric of an organization identity, not simply the responsibility of an isolated and siloed quality department. Yet, we should consider what author and quality expert Rafael Aguayo tells us was Deming's in-person conclusion to his famous injunction, which quality is everyone's responsibility, but top management have more leverage in their decisions than anyone else. The initiative for quality must come from the top, while responsibility for implementation and execution will be lie with a quality leader in a dedicated quality department with support from their counterparts in operation, engineering, sales, marketing, and IT. The desire to implement quality standards throughout an organization must come from the leadership team. They must walk the talk for a quality program to be successful. While there is certainly value in instilling the concept of quality in every member of an organization, without direct and explicit initiative and methods for implementing those ideas, another way of saying quality is everyone's responsibility is quality is no one's responsibility in particular. Everyone should strive for quality, but defining how to do that in very specific terms is something that can come only from the initiative or organizational leadership and be entrusted to specific cross-functional stakeholders for implementation. And now we talk about the cost of quality. Cost of quality is a way of measuring the cost associated with ensuring that a culture of quality thrives in an organization, as well as the cost associated with quality failures. There are 4 types of quality-related costs. The first one is preparation costs. These planned costs are the result of designing and implementing QMS and preventing quality problems from arising. These costs include quality planning, training, and quality assurance. The second one is appraisal costs. These costs are the result of measuring the effectiveness of quality management system and apply to both manufacturers and the supply chain. These costs include verification, quality audits, and supplier assessment. And the third one is internal failure costs. These costs arise when the manufacturer discovers quality failures before products or services are delivered to customers. They include waste from poor processes, excessive scrap, reward to correct errors, and the activity required to diagnose the cause of quality failures. And the fourth one is external failure costs. These are the most expensive costs and are usually apparent only after the products or services have reached the customer. These costs include repairs, warranty claims, returns, and dealing with customer complaints. Because of poor quality and its consequences can be difficult for organizations to measure, and it can be a struggle to convince executive stakeholders that quality improvement projects to mitigate COPQ have real value and are not simply cost centers. The primary consequences of COPQ are the most obvious. Costs associated with process failures inside the organization include excess scrap and waste material created by inefficient manufacturing processes, reward on defective or damaged products before they ship to market, and retesting and analyzing processes and procedure to determine point of failure. If poor quality is not caught before products or services make their way to end customers, the external costs can include those associated with lawsuits, recalls, warranties, complaints, returns, repairs, and the last is field support. And that is all about my short explanation about quality management. I hope it can help you, and thank you for listening and watching.